Kings 18 verse 36 to 38. At the time of sacrifice, the prophet Elijah stepped forward and prayed, "Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel and that I am your servant and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again." Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water in the trench. Elijah was a prophet of God, who lived in Israel during the time of King Ahab. God used Elijah to perform miracles and bring judgment on the nation of Israel for their worship of the god Baal. Ahab, king of Israel, married Jezebel, a foreign princess who convinced him to worship the god Baal. For this reason, God sent Elijah to prophesy against Ahab, warning that it will not rain for years to come. After prophesying, Elijah stayed hidden and was fed by ravens. Later, after the river dried up because of the severe drought, Elijah was instructed to go to Zarephath. There he would be supported by a widow. At a first moment it is imagined that the widow who would support the prophet was a woman of stature. However, the situation in which this woman lived was precarious. In a miraculous and providential way, God multiplied the widow's reserve of flour and oil until the rain came again. Then an illness struck the widow's son and killed him. "What have I to do with you, man of God?" said the woman, who associated the prophet Elijah's visit with her son's illness. She thought that the presence of the prophet as a man of God had brought divine attention to her sin. Elijah prayed to God and the widow's son was restored to life again. During the period of the drought prophesied by Elijah, starvation struck Samaria. During this period Jezebel had the prophets of the Lord killed. Ahab blamed Elijah for the misery in Israel, but the prophet made it clear that he and his family were the real guilty ones. They had sinned against the Lord, especially because of idolatry. So the prophet Elijah summoned all Israel to Mount Carmel. In that place he would confront the prophets of Baal supported by Jezebel. The 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah went to the mountain. There, two sacrifices would be presented, one by the pagans and the other by the prophet of the Lord. No one could burn the sacrifices, because the fire was to come supernaturally. The true God would be the one who would burn the sacrifice. The prophets of Baal did everything they could, but nothing happened. Elijah then repaired the broken altar of the Lord, and asked them to spill water under the holocaust. The prophet Elijah cried out to the Lord, and God responded with fire that consumed the holocaust. All the people of Israel recognized that Jehovah is God. That day the prophets of Baal were killed and a great rain fell on Israel. The dry period was over. After being threatened by Jezebel, Elijah fled to the south. This was a moment of profound discouragement in the life of the prophet. He even wished for death. However, he was divinely fed with bread and water and instructed to go on his way to Horeb, the mountain of God. The walk lasted 40 days and 40 nights, and the prophet was sustained only by the meal he had eaten. The prophet Elijah announced divine judgment on Ahab and Jezebel, giving details of their deaths and warning that their house would be destroyed. Because Ahab repented, the Lord postponed the destruction of his dynasty for a generation, but Ahab and Jezebel had dishonorable deaths according to the prophecy. When he returned from Horeb, Elijah recruited a man named Elisha as his assistant. At the end of his life, Elijah and Elisha crossed the Jordan River. As they walked along the banks of the Jordan, Elijah was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind inside a chariot of fire pulled by horses of fire. Elisha was his successor, continuing his ministry. And that was the story of Elijah. Thanks for watching.